Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the fascinating history, culture, and hardcore science behind our diets. We're putting nutrition under a truly holistic lens. But to kick things off, let's rewind time a bit. Did you know that ancient humans used to treat eye diseases by literally squeezing liver juice directly into their eyes? I know, it sounds totally bizarre today, but get this, they were actually onto something. Liver is incredibly rich in vitamin A, which is absolutely crucial for eye health. They didn't have the chemical breakdown back then, but they just knew it worked. It's so amazing to see how our understanding of what we put into our bodies has evolved over time, right?
Here's how we're breaking down this explainer. First, we'll look at the evolution of nutrition. Then we'll decode the nutrients themselves. Third, we explore the culture of food. Fourth, we uncover what really drives our diet. And finally, we'll look at nutrition and your health.
So let's jump right into part one, the evolution of nutrition, from ancient cures to modern science.
Our understanding of food has made some incredible leaps. Back in the ancient era, thinkers like Hippocrates were already calling health our greatest blessing. But the real, nitty-gritty science didn't kick into high gear until the 19th century. That's when Justus Liebig started researching the chemical composition of macronutrients, figuring out that carbs are actually made of sugars and proteins are made of amino acids. Then fast forward to the 20th century, Casimir Funk actually coined the word vitamin. And by the late 20th century, pioneers like Linus Pauling were discovering how exact nutrient concentrations could not only maintain health, but literally prolong our lives. Pretty wild progress.
Moving on to part two. Let's decode the nutrients, the invisible building blocks of our food.
Now, before we even look at the food itself, we absolutely have to talk about our basal metabolic rate, or BMR. Basically, this is the amount of baseline energy, expressed in calories, that your body needs just to perform basic functions and keep you alive. Think breathing, circulating blood, growing cells. This is what you burn when you are doing absolutely nothing, just completely at rest.
To fulfill those baseline energy demands, our bodies crave a highly specific balance of fuel. Generally speaking, a healthy body wants to draw about 65 to 80% of its energy from carbohydrates. Then, about 10 to 30% should come from fats, and finally, 7 to 15% from proteins.
But here's the catch. These macronutrients are definitely not created equal. Fats pack more than double the kilocalories per gram compared to carbs and proteins. While carbohydrates and proteins sit at a modest 4 kilocalories per gram, fats soar all the way up to 9. This perfectly explains why eating high-fat foods can so rapidly spike your daily caloric intake. It's literally packing twice the energy punch.
And when this nutrient intake gets out of whack, whether we're completely missing the mark or totally overshooting it, we hit malnutrition. Now, interestingly, malnutrition shows up in two completely opposite but equally dangerous ways. On one hand, we have undernutrition, which is a deficiency caused by just not taking in enough food. But on the flip side, we have overnutrition, where an oversupply of nutrients actually exceeds what your body needs for normal growth and metabolism.
All right, Section 3, the culture of food, where we'll see why normal is entirely relative.
So, if the basic biology of human digestion is pretty much universal, why did diets look so completely different across the globe? Seriously, what exactly dictates the specific foods that end up on our plates every single day? Is it purely biology, or are there invisible cultural hands guiding our forks?
Well, the truth is, nutrition is way more than just biology. As our source puts it, what one society regards as normal or highly valuable might be considered entirely inappropriate by another. What you think of as a classic, standard breakfast could be completely unappetizing or even strictly forbidden to someone living on the other side of the planet.
To really drive this point home, let's look at some striking global food taboos. In some African tribes, there's a strong belief that women consuming eggs causes sterility. Yet the Maasai people will regularly puncture a cow's vein to drink its blood mixed with milk. Over in the South Pacific, there are beliefs linking shellfish consumption to birth defects. That actually kind of mirrors certain Indian societies that prohibit eating papaya during pregnancy out of fear it might cause an abortion. And while folks in many Indonesian and African societies absolutely love fermented foods, other cultures find them completely unappealing. It's fascinating how deeply these traditions govern our nutritional intake.
Let's transition to Section 4, what drives our diet, looking at the hidden influences all around us.
There is a massive, tangled web of influences acting on your daily diet. Basically, everything from your geographic location to your socioeconomic status dictates your nutritional health. Think about it. If you're incredibly busy, you're probably going to rely on fast food. If you live in a tropical climate, your staple crops are going to be entirely different from someone freezing in a cold region. It's this completely interconnected system where your lifestyle, your income, and your environment are heavily dictating what you eat.
Your daily activity level is a huge factor too, of course. But there's a funny catch. We know intense physical activity demands a lot of energy, but don't think you can just think yourself thin. It turns out intense mental activity only burns a measly 4 kilocalories an hour. So yeah, studying hard or stressing out over a massive spreadsheet is definitely not burning off that heavy lunch.
And speaking of stress, think about the last time you were super overwhelmed. Did you completely lose your appetite, or did you stress eat a whole bag of chips to cope? Stress is such a fascinating factor because it literally pushes different people to completely opposite extremes of the malnutrition spectrum we talked about earlier.
Which brings us to Section 5, Nutrition and Your Health, Food as Medicine.
When we finally tie all these chemical building blocks and cultural habits together, the big picture is clear. Well-balanced nutrition is the absolute foundation of your overall health. It's the basis for your growth and development. It actively boosts your immunity, keeps your vital bodily functions running smoothly, promotes mental health, and prevents disease. Basically, nutrition is your body's ultimate primary defense system.
It is honestly incredible to see how specific foods literally act as medicine. For example, the amino acid tryptophan actually creates the serotonin that fights depression and regulates our sleep. Omega-3 fatty acids actively improve your mental health. On a purely physical level, proper nutrition drastically speeds up tissue repair and surgical recovery. And maintaining a balanced diet prevents severe chronic diseases like diabetes and hypertension. You are quite literally building your body and your mind with every single bite you take.
Section 6, Healthy Food Habits, Actionable Takeaways. So given the profound power of nutrition, how can we optimize our routines right now? Our source highlights a few great actionable steps. First up, never skip breakfast to reduce weight. It simply doesn't work. Second, try to space out your fruit consumption. Eat fruits 30 minutes before or after your main meals rather than with them. Third, keep your dinner light and make sure to eat it at least 2 hours before hitting the pillow. And finally, try to avoid overcooking your food and relying on excess salt or sugar because that just strips all the natural nutritive value right out.
I want to leave you with one final, kind of provocative thought for the next time you sit down to eat. Look at your plate and really ask yourself, are your food choices actually yours? Or are they just a product of your geography, your culture, and your current stress levels? How much of your meal was a true biological choice, and how much was decided for you by history and circumstance? Thank you so much for exploring this explainer with me today, and keep questioning what's on your plate.